difficult to define. Hope. You might say it's a deeply held belief that promises a better tomorrow. However you would define it, I'm sure that you'd agree with me that it's something that we cannot live without.
Amen.
For with hope, men and women can endure even the most difficult battles and struggles. But without it, in those same circumstances, we fold like a house of cards.
Whoa.
Hope, it fuels our spirit. It enlists courage and it promotes victory. It's an essential nutrient to the human heart. And yet, there are millions of people right here in the United States and tens of millions more in countries around the world that are caught in cycles of hopelessness. People that are living in situations that are so unjust and inhumane that hope is a long-forgotten commodity. Families that are strangled by poverty. Individuals isolated in fear and loneliness. Single parents just trying to make ends meet, wondering if things are ever going to get easier. People wondering why they were even created if this is all that there is. And you might say, well, Dan, if hope is so essential, if it's so necessary, how is it that so many people ended up without it? Well, when you consider the 14 million orphan children in Africa who've lost both their parents to the AIDS epidemic, when you consider those kids, it's easy to understand why hope is absent in their hearts. When you consider a family that lives in a war-torn country that's been ravaged by genocide, it's easy to understand why hope has escaped them. When you consider that family that lost everything they had in a natural disaster that wasn't their fault and they could do nothing to prevent, when you consider that family, it's easy to understand why hope is not a part of their story. When you consider that single mom who works 2 jobs to feed 3 kids and can barely make ends meet, when you consider that family, it's easy to understand why hope evades them. When you consider that child that was born into a family that's caught in a cycle of generational poverty, when you consider that kid, it's easy to understand why hope has not taken root in their heart. For people who are living in situations of desperate physical need, it's hard to have hope for tomorrow, because just getting through today takes every bit of physical, mental, and emotional strength that they have. You see, amidst all the great physical need that we could talk about here tonight, I sincerely believe that hope is the greatest need of all mankind.
Amen.
People need hope for eternity. And as followers of Jesus Christ, we believe that comes by putting your faith and your trust in Him. People also need hope for tomorrow, for next week, for their future. People need to know that even though today things are hard, that there's hope that tomorrow it's going to get better. They need to know that even though today they feel alone, that there's hope that tomorrow somebody's going to be there to help. They need to know that even though today their situation looks bleak, their future, it looks bright. They need to know that even though today their life feels like it has no purpose, that their destiny still awaits them. People need to know that they're not alone. People need to know that there is a greater plan and purpose for their existence. People need to know that there is hope. And that is the great cause, the great purpose behind what we are doing on Saturday. I hope you've already realized, got the clear message that this is not just a grocery giveaway. This is not just an effort to provide some free haircuts or a free lunch. Those are all good things, don't get me wrong. But the heartbeat of what we are doing here this weekend is to provide broken, downtrodden, kicked-to-the-curb people an opportunity to encounter hope.
Amen.
I shared this story with some pastors and some of your leaders several months ago. I want to share it with you because I believe it beautifully illustrates this idea. We had a couple that came to an outreach, and we met them towards the end of the day. They were in the haircuts area. This lady was sitting getting her hair cut. My husband was standing nearby, and he was visibly moved by what was taking place, and tears coming down his cheeks. And you don't always know what to say to a person in a moment like that. But as we talk to the couple, we hear their story, we find out that 2 weeks prior to the outreach, this man's wife had lost her job. And they were a dual income household. They were lifestyle they're trying to afford. 2 weeks had gone by and their cupboards were empty. They were just out of food. They saw these flyers and posters around town for free groceries. And so they thought, we could really use that. Let's go. So they come to the outreach on that Saturday, and one of the services that we were offering inside the job fair was professional resume writing. So this lady sat down, answered a few questions across the table from an interviewer. A few minutes later, she was handed a professionally written resume. Also taking place in the job fair that day, we had a number of local employers that were conducting on-site job interviews. So this lady took her brand new professionally written resume, waited a few minutes, sat down across the table from an employer. A few minutes later, she has a job. We'll see you Monday.
Amen.
Are you familiar with the ladies' clothing store, Dress Barn? Do they have those out here?
Yeah.
Dress Barn donated for that outreach on that Saturday 5,000 brand new professional women's garments for us to distribute to the ladies who were our guests that day. So this lady went over to the clothing area and picked out a few new outfits for her new job starting on Monday. Still hadn't received the one thing that they came for. And here she is in the haircut stand. She's getting a fresh haircut, and they were also doing facials and manicures for the ladies that day. Now, I guarantee you, before they left, they got their groceries. But, absolutely without a doubt, the greatest gift that we gave that couple on that Saturday, it was not a bag of food. The greatest gift we gave that couple on that Saturday, it wasn't a free haircut, it wasn't the clothes, it wasn't even a job, as life-transforming as I understand that is. I sincerely believe that the greatest gift that we gave that couple on that Saturday was the gift of hope. And I can tell you, story after story of lives that have been changed in settings just like this. And the common thread that you would see woven into each one of those stories is the introduction of hope. The revealed truth that there is a God who loves you, who created you with a purpose, and there's someone who cares.
Amen.
That is the gift of hope. It's a gift that we give. It's a knowledge that's transferred. It's a truth that's revealed through our actions and our words. And this is it in a nutshell. Here's the big idea that drives us, that motivates us. It's this simple idea that hope changes everything.